Welcome to Visions Unlimited. My name is Claire Mullen. I'm the host for today, and I'm going to be interviewing a woman who is a very special lady, and she's all about PCs, computers. Wow. I'm sure you've heard of PCs. Well, she's a trainer, and she has something new. She's created something new, and it's my pleasure to introduce Marina Pribble, right?
Yes, thank you very much.
Maria. Oh, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Oh, well, this is going to be fun because everyone's on computers.
Oh, yes.
I mean, what would we do without computers?
Exactly.
You know, I won't tell you the stories about anyway, forget about that. We're talking about you. Tell us about you, your background.
All right, thank you. It would be a pleasure of mine. Well, actually, I was raised here in the Santa Clara area of the Bay Area, and I actually attended Santa Clara University with a finance degree with accounting emphasis. And I chose accounting as a profession because, first of all, I wanted to be like my grandfather. He was an accountant. But the main thing was I was very shy and timid growing up. And so I just wanted to just be at my desk crunching my numbers and not have to really talk to anybody. And that's why I chose that profession. And it worked really well for about 10 years. And then I decided to embark in the training career. And so while I was actually an accountant for a local defense contractor here in the Bay Area, I was given the opportunity to help build and implement an accounting system, online accounting system, and then everybody got computers on their desk, and we went from key punch, remember those key punch cards? Okay, to online computing. So that opened the door of training for me. I was able to do training from start to finish. And so when that project was complete, they had asked me to go back to my accounting duties, and I said, well, I caught the training bug. So I left, and I actually went and worked for Santa Clara University, which was my alma mater. And I did computer training, a rollout of training there for their new Y2K program that they had. So if you remember back in the year 2000, everybody was worried about the computers.
You're not talking to a computer person.
Okay. So, but anyway, so that's where I embarked onto the training career where I am today.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. So obviously, number one, you like people.
I love people now.
Yes, and so you have taken your expertise and you've developed it into a new career.
Yes, definitely. And
That's exciting, right?
Oh, very exciting. And I have to admit, when I took on that assignment as a computer instructor while I was an accountant, what changed my life was joining Toastmasters. And so Toastmasters International is just the best thing that happened to me. And 2 weeks into joining Toastmasters International, I met my husband, my Prince Charming. And so he was my personal mentor through all of that I was going through, learning how to be an effective trainer, and as well as being in a Toastmasters program. And as you know, since we share that, being in Toastmasters, it's a program where you can learn to be an effective trainer or speaker or coach.
Or leader.
Leadership skills. And so that's what helped me become who I am today. And I'm really excited about that.
Well, I think you're a very special person. Anyone that can train people and that can really train them so they remember. So it's really an effective training program. There's so many teachers and so many trainers in this world that say, I'm a trainer, but I can tell, I think just from listening to you and speaking with you, you have something special.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And I love your smile.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, but let's talk about the computer. Now, you said that you had something new?
Right, okay. So basically when I started going into being out on my own teaching computers, I actually started my own company, ML Pribble and Associates. But as of 2 years ago, I helped co-found the Tech Mentors Company. And through that, we're trying to think of innovative ways of teaching computers to individuals, professionals, and CEOs and executives of companies that don't actually have time to sit in a traditional 6-hour instructor-led class. So what we developed is a program called Snippet training. So if you want to learn something, say from one of the Microsoft applications, like we have Excel, Word, PowerPoint, or Outlook, and let's say they only want to learn a snippet part of Excel. They only want to learn about macros or VLOOKUPs. You don't have to sit in on a 6-hour class anymore. You can learn exactly what you want on your terms. You don't even have to leave your desk. You can just, an executive could say, I need to get this project done. I need to learn how to do a pivot table in Excel. Who do you call? You can call us, and we can guide you online.
So it's very focused,
very
isn't it?
focused training.
Yes, and that's perfect, because I've been in many training programs myself, and that is ideal, because when you try and remember a whole program, too much material, it's difficult to really focus and retain all of that.
That's right, that's right. And we share real life examples as we're teaching the material. So then it helps the student understand the material a little bit better. And actually we try to learn more about the client, the student, and say, how would you see yourself using this? And try to make that connection. So that way the after class retention of the material stays. There's a stickiness factor. Otherwise, like you said, it sort of just goes in and out because you learn so much in such a short amount of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you should be very proud of yourself because of this blue ribbon.
Thank you. Thank you.
How did it feel when you went through that hug line yourself?
Oh, I loved it. I'm a huggy person. So, learned that from my husband, but I'm a huggy person. And so attaining my Distinguished Toastmaster, which is the DTM status in the Toastmasters program, it's the highest level that you can reach, was just a magnificent accomplishment for me, being that I was very shy and timid. I was a leader as a child and growing up. I always found myself in leadership positions. But when I had to go and speak in front of a group, I would freeze up. And so this has opened up so many doors for me. And I wouldn't even be here today sitting in this chair if it wasn't for that.
That's wonderful. So. Well, a lot of people listening to this show don't really know what the hug line is. So why don't you describe what the hug line is?
Well, basically, being that this happened in 1994, I'll try to remember as best as I can. But basically, you receive your award, and then all the previous members of Toastmaster who had received their Distinguished Toastmaster status, they're wearing their medallion as well. And you go and you hug each one, and they're just thanking you and just wishing you well on your accomplishment, because it is a lot of hard work. You have to have at least 4 years of membership, continuous membership, to attain this. You need to start a new club. And so I was I was a division governor, and I was able to manage 33 clubs right here in Silicon Valley. And so those were some of the prerequisites that you had to do to get that award. So a lot of love and effort and mentorship by everybody comes into play. And so they're congratulating you on that accomplishment.
And it is a wonderful experience, not only to be in that hug line where you're welcoming people. And what I did this year, first time, and I stood in that hug line watching, I think there were 8. There's usually not too many, less than 10. Right. There were 8 new DTM members.
Wow.
I brought out my iPhone. Oh. And as they came down, I was standing there, I was taking their picture, hugging other people. And I thought that was so fun, because it was so memorable. Right. But to connect it now with the computer idea of now I can take a picture with my little portable computer, in a sense.
That's right. That's right.
And that's something brand new for me anyway. Right. So isn't that the capability of being able to do that? I have my iPhone or my iPad sitting here on my lap. And aren't we fortunate to have these products? And I have no idea where the world is going 5, 10 years from now as far as computers are concerned, but maybe you could answer that.
Yes, well, this is something visionary that we're embarking on with this question, and I always try to think outside the box, or unique type of things that we could do with training, instead of just the day-old, everyday training, instructor-led training, as I was mentioning. Well, I can visualize seeing, right now we have Twitter, okay? Twitter's out there where people can go and see maybe a computer tip a day, and that's something that I do. I put a little computer tip a day out there, and so the people who are in my sphere of influence get to learn a little bit more about computers. But they have the push notifications, which you could also maybe have a little video that's pushed out every day. That's something that is on the verge of embarking on the new things that you could do with training, computer training, and letting people know. Or somebody might need to learn something about a Word document, how to do a mail merge. Then instead of going to YouTube, there might be an easier way to do that using technology. And
Isn't this
so
exciting?
yeah,
it
it's
really
totally
is exciting.
To be able to learn how to do something right from your phone is just amazing. I mean, you could do
Right.
YouTube today, but just something more condensed and focused.
And so yes, you're right. It is really exciting because when I think about not being a computer person, I always wanted to be a fashion designer and go something that really completely different. So I didn't work with computers. I didn't work with. I knew a keyboard, but that was about the only thing that I knew.
Right.
But now, as I'm learning, so all the people that are learning something that they never really thought of learning before,
Right.
that's tremendous growth.
Right. Growth, personal growth.
Personal growth, and what the capabilities, well, you can talk about that.
Right. Well, just taking a small, it's like a Snippet training class, you can learn the tools that you need to get your job done more quickly and efficiently. So our goal as in Tech Mentors is to empower people to better use their technology. And by doing that, you save time, you save frustration with your computer just by learning a couple tools. And then also you can spend more time with your family. You don't need to be at your office until 11 o'clock p.m. If I may, to share a story with you.
Please.
There was a lady, I was teaching PowerPoint, and I went to this feature, teaching them how you can change the design of an entire presentation with a click of one button. You just click the button and it's all changed. And she started to tear up. She was crying. And I didn't know how to take that as a trainer. I'm like, this is something fun. Why are you tearing up? And so I asked her, I said, I see that this great feature has affected you. And she said, let me share with you what happened to me last month. My boss came to me at 4 p.m. and said, I would like you to change this presentation from this theme to that theme. Not letting her know that it was a click of a button. Maybe the boss knew, maybe the boss didn't know. The boss just wanted the presentation changed. She, from 4 o'clock until midnight, she was in the office. She retyped the whole presentation from scratch, building all the tables, all the graphs, all the bulleted lists, importing the pictures. And
So frustrating.
so frustrating.
So frustrating.
And she said, you just showed me how to do it with a click of a button, and you could have saved me all that time. And I was away from my family. She had another commitment to go to. And because the presentation was due in the morning, she stayed dutifully, And so those are the things, the tips and tricks.
I hope she got a raise.
I don't think so. But it's those tips and tricks that you learn by having a mentor, a personal coach that can help you with just the topics that you want. So you don't have to, like you
and
said
having
earlier.
a personal trainer, I think, not only in computers, but I think the whole idea is having personal trainers now in many, many different areas.
Right, and mentors. And again, I wouldn't be here today if I didn't set goals for myself, let others know about my goals, and then those mentors, they arise from areas that you didn't even know they might have had an expertise in to help you get further ahead in life. And so you need to learn to set those goals.
And I think that other people can also, as they're developing their area of expertise, that they can become coaches and mentors for other people.
Most definitely.
The more we help each other, the more we grow. That's how we change the world.
That's right, and give back. Give back to others.
Yes.
Exactly. Yes. I love mentoring people. That's part of the computer training. We don't look at it as just training. We are mentoring them. We're giving them the tools that they need to be more productive, and that way you can, I encourage my students to say, okay, now you learned this today. I would like you to share that feature with your boss, with your coworkers. So you get more out of this, because this, as you know in Toastmasters, as soon as you learn something, you turn around and teach it to somebody else, you're going to learn it better. It's going to retain better in your mind if you're able to turn around and just teach somebody else.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Yes, I've stayed in Toastmasters for a lot of years, and every Friday I go to my meeting, and it is giving back. It really is giving back. It's a family.
Right.
It's a family.
Right, and you've been through the paces. You know what it takes. You know how it feels to prepare for a presentation, and you could be a great mentor. We could be great mentors for people. And I know I teach effective presentation classes as well, and I draw upon the Toastmaster experience and helping people reduce that fear, that anxiety that they have. Just giving them those little tips and tricks that just click in your mind and just, you know, it makes their life easier. For instance, at least for me, what clicked for me was I always got terrified of speaking to a lot of people, a group of people in an organization. All it took was one person, a mentor in my club, to say, pretend you're talking to one person at a time. That's it. You're just talking to that one person. You're just talking to that one person.
Right.
That changed my life. That all by itself changed my life. And so now I address audiences 100, 300 people, and I just zero in on just certain people in the audience. I'm just talking to them. And
So this interview is turning out to be a lot about Toastmasters too.
I know. Sorry, but
no, you know, I'm glad. I'm really happy because there's really it's an important topic.
Right. It helps
really
build confidence in people.
Absolutely. In fact, well, it's not really my interview, but I'll share with you very quickly a cute story. Years ago, when I first received my first telephone call for a paid speech, I was so excited that they're going to pay me. I didn't say that to him, but I'm on the telephone and saying, oh yeah, and we're talking about, well, what's the content, the timing, the place, and all the details. And I'm on the phone, and just before we hang up, he said, but I have to tell you something. I said, oh, what is that? And I'm thinking something else related to business. He said, this is a nudist colony.
Oh.
Anyway, long silence. Being a nice Catholic girl, you know, that I'm not going to tell you one way or the other whether I spoke or not. But it was a fun experience, and they were all clothed though.
Right, good.
But that telephone call when he said that, oh, this is a nudist colony. Oh. Okay, but back to computers, because this is so important for so many people.
Yes, it is.
What's so special about let's see, Excel versus PowerPoint versus in terms of the programs, how would you evaluate these programs?
Right. Well, I would think the program that I see that we teach the most of is Excel. That's the one that's used most by individuals. And I'd say Word is the second. Excel is used more by financial analysts, statisticians. They need to compute things, or people that need to put things in a tabular format. That's what Excel does for you. And a Word document is like writing documents, letters, memos. So a lot of people have to write those in the business world. So those two are the top classes that we teach.
But because there's so many Apple people, what is the equivalent in the Apple program?
The Apple program does have actually the Microsoft products on the Mac.
Okay.
So at one of my clients, I do teach these classes. It's just a different version. They call it 2011 instead of 2010 or now 2013. But so they do have the equivalent of the Microsoft products on the Mac, or you also have the Mac classes that you can take. So they have their own
So you do
version.
teach the Mac classes too?
I do. I teach the Mac classes, but with the Microsoft application.
All right.
So like, for instance, PowerPoint is called Keynote on the Mac. I know Keynote, but for me to teach a class, I need to know it inside and out and upside down and everything. So eventually, I'll probably know Keynote, but for right now, I teach PowerPoint on the Mac or PowerPoint on the PC.
All right.
And in PowerPoint, you were asking the other applications. So PowerPoint is another one that is up and coming. You know, people are using that more and more. We see executives doing more of their own PowerPoint presentations instead of having their staff.
But haven't these programs been around for a very long time?
They have, however.
Oh, they've changed.
Oh, they've changed.
Really?
From version 2003 to 2007 was like culture shock to people.
Really?
Yes, because the interface was very different. The look and feel of how things looked was very, very distinct and different and unique. And so we offered a lot of transitional classes, and we still do. version 2007 to 2010 is not that much. They just added some additional features. And as well as the new 2013, it has a little bit of a different feel, but it's basically the same. So the major change was from 2003 to 2007.
Now, are there any other programs that you would recommend, online programs?
Well, we see a lot of companies doing their own web design work instead of hiring a freelance person to come in and do it. A lot of admin people, administrative assistants, are actually learning how to do web design. And so we do teach HTML, Dreamweaver, back in the day, Front Page, which was a Microsoft application. So that would be another application that I would encourage people to learn more about is HTML and Dreamweaver, especially if you're in a capacity where you're supporting your staff.
What about the writers who are writing books?
Word. Word would be great for that.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And then if you're into graphic design, then it's going to be more of what we call the Adobe. We have Microsoft, and then we have Adobe products. So that's the Dreamweaver for the website. You have Photoshop to do all the doctoring up of your pictures. There's Flash. There's other Adobe products that you can use. So.
Well, I think I need to hire you or something or go to your classes.
Yeah, well, we'll save you time, taking just one class or just two, sitting down with a personal trainer for 2 hours will save you a lot of time. Definitely.
Well, I'm excited about that because I've struggled a lot of times, even all the connections. Now, what about Skype?
Skype is a great way to do You could do training with Skype. A lot of people use it for having conference calls with a group of people all around the world. Isn't that amazing that you don't have to get on a plane anymore? You could call to India, you can call to Japan, and everybody's having this meeting over Skype. It's just amazing. So you could use Skype as a means of doing computer training. We actually use a GoToTraining module that's put out by Citrix. A lot of people know GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. Well, last year they came out with GoToTraining, and that's what we use for our Snippet training. And so they receive all the class files. We have the allocated time, whether it's an hour and a half, to learn specifically what you want to learn. And it's all done online. It's instructor-led, except you, if you were my client, you would be doing all the clicking and moving around. I'm just coaching you over the online system, saying this is what you need to do. Yes. So you still get that feeling.
So people need their Skype account in order to connect with you.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So those need to be set up. But if you do with like the GoToTraining or GoToMeeting, actually when you sign up for the class, it will prompt you to download the necessary, what they call plugins, onto your computer.
Okay.
So it's a little bit easier than I think Skype. Skype, you have to go set up an account and do, set up your username and password, where this is all self-contained, if you will.
Well, I'm very impressed with all the excitement. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities.
Yes, and it's a unique way of learning.
Yes. I had a friend that suggested that I start doing interviews online and interview people around the world.
Yes, and you can use Skype for that.
So I'm kind of excited about even the possibility.
Right, right. And I've seen it done. You have your Ellen DeGeneres. I've seen her, when I do get to watch TV. I usually don't get to watch TV, but I've seen it where, she'll be Skyping in on an actress or an actor who might be filming in another country, but yet they can still have the interview, and they might have a physical person sitting in the chair as well that they're interviewing. And it's just fascinating that you can do that. And I could see you doing that. That would be great, Claire.
That's really exciting.
Yes, yeah, you could just have your monitor right here.
Yes. Just all sorts of saving. My mind is going.
I got you excited, right? I hope.
Yeah, you did.
We should have a training soon. No, it's a pleasure.
But it's wonderful to come down here, and I have to say it's so much fun coming to the studio here, and doing the interviews, and it's just a feeling of really being interactive with people.
Right.
You can reach out and you can touch them.
Right.
On a computer, you can't really touch them, but you kind of get that feeling. And so there's all sorts of different avenues, you might say. So what do you see yourself do quickly? We're just running kind of low on time, and where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
I see the Tech Mentors business growing and even becoming a franchise where we could have a co-op of trainers tapped in to become mentors, doing the same thing with the Snippet training, doing consultant. We can do Snippet consulting work where somebody might have a project that needs to be worked on, not necessarily trained, but how do I use this feature with what I'm working on? We could do that. And so I could see that being duplicated around the country, maybe around the world. And so that's how I foresee this endeavor with the Tech Mentors is just growing and growing. And of course, keeping up with technology. So we want to be on the forefront of any changes that come about. We want to be there and do it. And I know with our business, we're actually going to expand beyond computer training. We're going to be doing training for your iPad, training for your iPhone, training for any new gadget that might come around. Find trainers that do that, and that will be part of that, that collaborative effort as a pool of trainers and be able to market those services out.
And I understand that people in India are very computer literate, but you know, we should have another show.
We could go on and on and on.
I know. Okay, well, let's see. But I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Sure, my pleasure.
Marina, it's been delightful.
Thank
It's
you.
really been extremely educational for me, and I hope for our guests listening.
Yes.
Because they're so important. This is why we do it. We try and educate the community, people in the community, and this is how we create a more beautiful world.
That's right.
This is how we
that's
keep
right.
moving forward.
And helping them save time so that they can have more time with their family, you know, and just learning the tips and tricks of life, of computers.
So thank you
Thank you
again.
so much.
Really, it's been delightful chatting with
Claire.
you, and we'll have lunch, and you tell me all sorts of things. But
Sounds great. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
do you have a question for me?
Well, I would like to, actually, I'd like to learn a little bit more about, with your Toastmasters, you were mentioning that there is the opportunity to do something like this.
Okay, we'll talk about that at lunch.
That would be wonderful.
That would be really good.
Yes.
So I'd like to say thank you to the audience. Thank you so much for joining us. She's wonderful. I think Maria, she's just delightful. So, and thank you for joining us. If you have an idea, if you'd like to be interviewed by me, please contact me. If you want more information about Maria and her company and what she's doing, you can contact me, Claire Mullen, at 6colors. Let's see, 6colors at sbcglobal.net. Again, my email is the number 6 colors, COLORS, at sbcglobal.net. I'd love to talk with you. So I hope you have a wonderful day and have fun with your computer. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.